This week on Talking Pictures with Neil Rosen, we'll look back at the summer movie season as the panel and myself tell you what we like, both streaming and in theaters, over the last few months. Plus, in our fall preview, we'll take a look at some of the films and streaming series that we're most looking forward to that are coming your way this season. We've got all that and many more movie picks coming up. Hey everybody, welcome back to a new season. I'm Neil Rosen and welcome to Talking Pictures. It's our monthly Critic Roundtable show where we debate what's worth watching and what's not when it comes to new releases, hidden gems, and Hollywood classics. Joining me are regulars Bill McCuddy from the popular podcast, which I highly recommend you listen to, Sitting Around Talking Movies, Lisa Rosman from the Ruby Report, and my friend Mike Sargent is here from WBAI and the Brown and Black podcast, another thing worth listening to. This episode, we're going to do something different. We're going to go around the panel with our critics' picks, which we usually do at the end of the show, but we're going to talk about what we liked while we were on break over the summer months. Lisa, let's start off. And what did you like over the summer?
Well, believe it or not, it's not something super lofty. My first pick is this summer's Naked Gun reboot, starring Liam Neeson as Lieutenant Frank Drebin Jr., who is the son of the original series hero, who is played by Leslie Nielsen. This is directed and co-written by the Lonely Island's Akiva Schaffer, and I think that has a lot to do with why I love this so much. That guy is a peach. And the movie co-stars Pamela Anderson, who is appropriately, of course, in her own reboot era. Here's the thing. This movie isn't saying super deep, smart things about the police state or the general state of the American Union, but it's also not what my friends call propaganda. It does have the good grace to send up the reactionary values of old cop movies. It turns Neeson's tough guy posturing on its head, and it has the good grace to make the bad guys the billionaire technocrats. And honestly, at this moment in American life, I'm so grateful for well-intended, not mean, dumb comedies that deliver as many laughs a minute as this movie does. There's tons of sight gags, dumb wordplay, and that keeps up at this crazy rate all the way through the end credits. It's a pleasure to see a movie that actually keeps you in stitches without putting anyone down.
And here's the thing, I missed this, and I just want to go on record as saying, this is one of those movies that I wanted to go back to the theater and see with a group, because even as critics, we don't necessarily want to sit in a room with other critics and not laugh, just nod when something's funny. So I missed the boat on this thing, and I'm sorry. I know it's already on demand, and I know people will watch it that way. And what I want to do is get a bunch of people to come over to my house and watch it.
No, honestly, I saw it at the Regal, and people were rolling.
I had the same experience, and I agree with you. I think it was really surprisingly funny. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, as I'm waiting online with other critics, I said, so what was the last great comedy you saw?
Yeah.
And people were like, huh. Yeah. Nobody could think of anything. Right. And this movie was just unabashedly silly. Liam Neeson is perfectly cast. Mm-hmm. But it actually had a story, which I thought was, not just a bunch of gags.
It was the right one.
Bill, tell me something you liked recently.
Well, mine is a streaming series, and spoiler alert, if you like The Office, this is basically a carbon copy made in The Office about something called The Paper. It turns out the big corporation that owned Dunder Mifflin also owns a toilet paper company and a newspaper company. And no less than Donald Gleason has made the editor of this little paper with a very small staff that sits with everyone else from the other paper companies. And they're trying to put out a real paper. Chelsea Fry, or Free, is the sidekick. She's the Pam to this sort of love interest that's going to develop eventually.
Yeah, I like her. She's very good.
Yeah, she's very winning. And from the original Office, we have Oscar Nunez.
I'm so glad Oscar is back. I know. And he's playing Oscar.
And he has a great running gag in this, which is he keeps looking in the documentary guys and goes, I'm not going to be in this. I'm not going to be in this.
You did 8 years of you guys. Enough already. I know. That's a very funny
This is on the Peacock network. It should probably be on NBC, but and Greg Daniels is behind it, all the same people. Again, if you love The Office, you may be put off by this because it's the exact same thing. I was somebody who dipped into The Office occasionally. This, I think, is even better, The Paper on Peacock.
I think it is very much obviously in keeping, but there's something a little bit more tenderhearted and melancholy about this project. I found it really endearing. And also, honestly, big crush on Gleason. He can pretty much do anything, right?
He has
can
a
be
great
a rom-com
American
here.
accent.
Yeah, he's so good. I've seen in movies where he plays like serial killers. He's always good.
He's great.
He's like a good-looking Conan O'Brien.
You know, the thing is, I watched a couple of episodes. I thought the beginning was so clever that it's the same documentary crew. And where's Dunder Mifflin? Oh, they went out of business in 2018. And
Right.
I mean, and there were all these references to it. Like, they weren't hiding it. And I think that's great. But after a couple of episodes, I got a little bored with it. I don't think it's as good as The Office. You've gone deeper, Bill. I'm
into about the 5th episode. I think it's laugh out loud funny in places that The Office was just trying to be dry and throw things away. And also, it's a little more important because it's about a newspaper that's trying to survive in this day and age. So
it's all online. They show those black and white clips like when there were 400 people working in the newsroom and
right.
stuff.
There's also a way over the top, I think, Brazilian woman in the movie that's like in the show that seems like she's in a Pedro Almodovar movie. She
was White Lotus.
She was in White Lotus also. I think you'll like it.
All right, you're making me want to see this now.
Good.
I haven't seen it.
Well, Mike, what have you seen over the summer?
Well, what I did see is a film that I think didn't get enough attention. It's a film called 40 Acres. It's by a Canadian filmmaker, a black Canadian filmmaker named R.T. Thorne. And it takes place in a post-apocalyptic future. There have been plagues, there have been wars, and it takes place in Canada. And Danielle Deadwyler plays an ex-military mom who's come back to the family farm. This is a black family that during the Civil War moved up to Canada. And she has been raising her family and training them to fight off all of the scavengers and cannibals and people who try to raid the farm. But what makes this work is the fact that she's got a son played by Katayam O'Connor, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He happens to see a woman bathing, Milcania Diaz Rojas, and he's a young man. He's growing up. He's been isolated just with his family, and he wants to get to know her. And she's from a neighboring community that's also kind of a fortress, and it endangers the whole family. But this is a film that will surprise you. It'll surprise you at how well written it is, how well acted it is, how logical it is. And it does what all good science fiction should do, which is say something about the human condition.
How does it not have zombies?
It doesn't need zombies.
I'm picking something from the summer that I saw. It's a new documentary on HBO and HBO Max, and it's called My Mom Jayne.
So good.
And it marks the directorial debut of Mariska Hargitay, who audiences know as Olivia Benson on Law & Order, SVU, and it's all about her mother, Hollywood legend Jayne Mansfield. Now, most people remember Mansfield in the 50s and the 60s as a blonde bombshell who was playing dumb blonde roles, like a Marilyn Monroe type of character, but that was just an act that she says the public wanted. In reality, she had a high IQ, was an accomplished pianist, and was fluent in 5 languages. And for Mariska, the film is deeply personal. She lost her mom when she was just 3 years old in a car accident, and through interviews and home movies and family keepsakes, she pieces together who Jayne Mansfield really was. There's a big twist near the end, which I won't reveal, and the result is part Hollywood story and part emotional family journey as she learns who her mother really was beyond the legend. And you saw it, Lisa.
I loved it. I thought it was surprising and also surprisingly self-assured. We keep learning that these blonde bombshells from the 40s and the 50s, like Marilyn and Judy Holliday, were actually these super smart, multi-talented women. And it was lovely to find out that she lives in that category. And, I usually can do without the interviews in these kind of documentaries with the shell-shocked children of the celebs. But in this particular documentary, it served a serious purpose.
It was part of the summer doc series out in the Hamptons for the Hamptons Film Festival, which is just coming up now. We're going to talk about a couple movies in that. But in the meantime, I haven't seen this either, and I definitely want to.
Same. I haven't seen it either, but I really want to because of everything you just said.
Yeah.
And, I saw recently an interview with Sophia Loren saying, you invented the side eye when you gave that look at Jayne
I love
Mansfield.
that famous
It's
photo.
famous photo. So,
that's
it made me want to
amazing.
see.
That photo
So
is
good.
it's like this,
Yes.
Gee, what was she looking at? Well, Lisa, why don't you pick another movie that you or series that you saw over the summer? And
well, I'm really into this PBS series right now called Unforgotten. Because honestly, besides dumb comedies, my usual comfort go-to when things are falling apart, like right now, are British crime procedurals, and Unforgotten is head and shoulders the best one I've discovered in a while. Each season of it centers on a cold case unit solving the mystery of a recently discovered but long dead corpse. There's almost never anyone famous in the cast. The wit is dry rather than waggish. But there's something like so satisfying about their in-depth season-long investigations, and they go into all these recessed corners of human suffering. They're never preachy though, they're never dissociative. Obviously, because it's British, the acting is off the charts. And the good news is if you get into it, there's 6 seasons and they have no cancellation in sight. So you got some watching to do.
You need BritBox. You will love that service.
I love BritBox.
Okay,
I love it.
All right.
I'm obsessed.
Bill, pick something that you've
Sure.
seen over the summer that you could recommend to everybody.
HBO has given its coveted Sunday night centerpiece that it's launched so many great series on to something called Task. This is about a flawed FBI agent played by Mark Ruffalo who's trying to uncover who's robbing biker gang drug dealers. So you've got 2 storylines moving in tandem. Add to, because everything on television or streaming now has to have a missing child, add a kidnapped child to the scenario, and we're only 3 episodes in, but I'm telling you, this is quite well done, and I highly recommend Task.
What have you seen over the summer?
Well, what I've seen is hopefully what everybody's seen, but I have to recommend it because it was one of the favorite things I saw, and that's Andor Season 2.
Oh, yeah.
I think Andor Season 2, it will go down as one of the best series, period. And it really sets up what I think is a great Star Wars trilogy, which is Andor, the whole series, Season 1 and 2, Rogue One, and then A New Hope. Because what he did here, I think, what Tony Gilroy did was, you know, the Empire, it's this authoritarian thing. How did they take over the galaxy? Like, how did that happen? And then how did they take it down? How did the rebels get these plans? So seeing how you create a rebel, it became sort of a political thriller. And that's what it is. It's Star Wars through the lens of a political thriller or a spy movie. And I love it. I can't say enough good things. But last thing I got to say, I didn't see it when it aired. I saw it a little while after. And literally, there's some scenes in there that are happening right here in this country. There's a situation where a senator gets taken down in the halls of the Senate. And I was like, oh my God, this just happened last week in America. So,
I mean, this is what I was going to say, is that, like, I haven't been a huge fan of a lot of the offshoots of the original Star Wars movies, but this I have watched very, very obsessively for exactly the reasons
I would
you're
never
saying.
have thought that you would have watched something like this.
No,
it supposedly stands alone.
It's
too.
what I was
your
going
alley.
to say, is 100%. It stands alone.
100%.
It's very, very well-observed political analysis at its core.
Mike and I are big Star Trek fans.
I like Star Wars.
And I kind of shy away. I think they diluted the Star Wars franchise, so I stayed away from this. But based on what you're saying,
It's so
Well, wait a minute. Let me
Diego
point- let me
Luna
point.
is so good in this.
Let me point another thing out. I'm not a Star Wars guy, but I'm a huge Tony Gilroy guy. So let's remind people, Michael Clayton, Beirut, he's done tons of amazing movies,
Yep.
and he understands characters really, really well.
You know, there's a terrific new book out. Yes, I'm talking about a book, but it's about movies. Just hang with me. And it's called Miss May Does Not Exist, and it's by this author, Carrie Corrigan. And it's all about the brilliant and very private Elaine May. Now, Elaine May rarely talks to the press, so her life has always been a bit of an enigma. But the book really dives into her life. She helped create modern improvisation and comedy with Mike Nichols. Together they were this smash that they were on Broadway, An Evening with Nichols and May. And later she directed, which Bill and I love these movies, wrote A New Leaf, which she wrote and directed, which is phenomenal.
Walter Matthau, man.
Carbon on the Valve.
Carbon on the Valve. She directed The Heartbreak Kid with her daughter Jeannie Berlin and Charles Grodin, which is phenomenal. She also doctored scripts for Tootsie and Heaven Can Wait and Reds. And of course, she got unfairly slammed for Ishtar, which I think was unfairly maligned. And that criticism sidelined her career. This book reminds us of just how groundbreaking and influential Elaine May really is. She's a genius.
Great pleasure of seeing Nichols and May as a surprise duo at a thing in Washington, D.C. years ago, and they were phenomenal. I also cold called her one time by mistake because her number is 1 digit off of a friend of mine's, and she answered and said Elaine May, and I was so frozen. I went, wrong number.
Missed opportunity.
You know, I also read the book.
Yeah,
I was going to say that what's interesting about it is that, of course, Elaine May, being Elaine May, never grants an interview, right? Basically. So part of what's so fun and interesting about the book is her viewing her literally like a few blocks away at times because the author's so obsessed with her. And, you know,
she stalked out in front of her apartment.
Exactly. She really captures May because this is a woman who was so allergic to any inauthenticity or complacency that she both created a unique career and also destroyed it.
Yeah, I think she's brilliant. I'm a big fan. I'm going to move on here, and I just want to talk before we wrap up the summer. You know, this was a very, very disappointing summer, not only for, I think, most audiences and me personally, but even at the box office. They expected the box office to make, last year it made $4 billion, and it did not even come close to that. And maybe the reason is that everything, except for 2 movies, which I'll get to in a minute, were remakes or sequels. I mean, I'm going to read a list here. Okay, Jurassic World, how many of those have they made? Okay,
This one was good.
All right, Superman, that's a reboot. I Know What You Did Last Summer, that's a reboot. The Fantastic Four, which didn't do well at the box office. The Fantastic Four movies never do well at the box office. Happy Gilmore 2 after 30 years.
Good movie.
You mentioned The Naked Gun.
Yeah,
That's a remake. The biggest box office thing of the summer was Lilo and Stitch, which was a remake. Now it combines live action and animation. How to Train Your Dragon.
So many dimensions, Neil. You have to.
But I'm just saying that the only 2 original pieces that made it was something that I liked called Materialists by Celine Song, which we talked about on a previous show, and F1, which is at least the original piece of material with Brad Pitt as a Formula One race car driver.
No, you're leaving one big one out that made a ton of money that I didn't like, but everyone else did, called
Mission
Weapons.
Oh, I thought you said Mission Impossible.
No, Weapons was
Weapons.
really, really, really liked by a lot of people except me.
But it's all geared.
But you're right about Materialists. That was one of the getaways.
The problem is
it's
that
all geared to 12-year-olds.
Yeah, but this
Sure.
is because at this point we
the
don't have what we had even in the 90s, which is executives who also love film. Like these things are being run by like, you know, MBA's board of directors, and they take the most cynical choices possible. Like,
and the screenwriters are all Xerox machines.
Right. This isn't late stage capitalism ruining Hollywood. It's last stage capitalism.
We're dinosaurs.
Well, I don't know. I just...
Well, don't forget Sinners, because that did pretty well.
Sinners did great.
Would that be considered a summer movie, though? Didn't it come out like in April?
Yeah, actually.
You know?
Okay, all right, I guess.
But also, though, it was interesting how much the media wanted to like minimize how successful that movie was. I really felt like it was because it was a black director.
Yeah,
my top 10.
I'm just saying. Of course, I think.
Well, fall preview time, and around the panel we go again. So, Bill, give me a movie or series that you're looking forward to over the next few months.
Well, I'm going to be right by the tube side for Slow Horses and all the other things that are coming back that I love. But at the movies, I can't wait to see Is This Thing On? This is Bradley Cooper's take on stand-up comedy with Will Arnett as based on a real-life guy who just walked on stage one night and started talking about his marriage falling apart. I don't know the comic. I love Will Arnett. I think Bradley Cooper sees material in a different way than a lot of other directors, and I can't wait to see Is This Thing On. A lot of it is shot in comedy clubs around New York that will seem familiar to you if you go to them.
You told me you were going to do this, but that was the thing that I'm most looking forward to see this fall, so I picked some other things, which I'll get to in a minute. But yeah, Bradley Cooper, who I think is very talented, and Will Arnett, who I think is underrated and very talented. I looked at the trailer. I am desperately looking forward to seeing that. I cannot believe
you guys. Bradley Cooper's last movie was the worst piece of
Maestro.
All right, so he had a misfire with the
Maestro was on my top 10 list.
What a shocker. The boys are excited for a movie about a stand-up comic. Like, really,
well, Bill
further,
does stand-up comedy, and I did stand-up
you guys
comedy
literally,
years ago,
any crappy movie about a stand-up comic, you'll be excited.
He does sit-down comedy.
Yeah, let's be real here.
That's absolutely true. All right, Mike, tell me something you're looking forward to.
Well, I'm actually looking forward to Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Because I think
you're the one.
How many Frankensteins have we had?
Well, let me say this, okay? Yeah, the fact that he was inspired by Bernie Wrightson, who's a famous comic book illustrator who did a series of illustrations from Frankenstein, and the fact that the way he's telling this story is closer to, I think, the novels. And there was a TV movie back in the day called Frankenstein: The True Story with Michael Sarrazin and David McCallum. And that was probably my favorite version of Frankenstein. It eschewed a lot of the things that we've seen in the Frankenstein movies. This looks like he's really going for that. So this has got Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, and Mia Goth, who has an appropriate last name for the kind of film she does. And I think that this is going to probably be one of the better films that he does.
Guillermo del Toro is the draw for me, but there has been My favorite Frankenstein is actually The Bride of Frankenstein, the original with Boris Karloff and Elsa Lanchester?
Well, you went to that in the theaters when it opened.
Oh, yeah, I was an old guy back then. I'm so much older now. Lisa, give me a movie that you're looking forward to.
Okay, I am ecstatic about this movie called A Private Life. Director and co-writer Rebecca Slotowski's. It's French dark comedy. It stars, check it out, it's fully in French, but it stars Jodie Foster, who people don't realize actually does speak French fluently. She plays a repressed psychoanalyst. She's investigating the murder of one of her favorite clients. I've already seen the film. It comes out later this fall. It is metaphysical, brainy, wonderfully twisty. I was obsessed and wanted to see it immediately after I saw it.
Well, I was talking about Poor Things earlier, and what I'm looking forward to is a movie called Begonia, where Emma Stone reunites with Poor Things director Yorgos Lanthimos, and it's about two conspiracy-obsessed young men who kidnap this high-powered CEO of this corporation, played by Emma Stone, and they believe that she's an alien intent on destroying the planet Earth. I've watched the trailer. It looks really interesting. I really like Poor Things. I thought it was a excellent movie. So the draw of Emma Stone reuniting with Yorgos Lanthimos and looking at this trailer, it just seems really intelligent and interesting. So that's...
It just looks like Emma Stone will do anything this guy tells her to do. Kinds of kindness.
His Frankenstein.
She's the bride of Yorgos Lasagna or whatever his name is. I just think that she's making bad career choices because this guy just tells her you should do it.
I appreciate that she's not just being a Hollywood robot and making as much money as she can, but I'm kind of with you. Like, I thought that her last venture with him was crapola.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you love sci-fi. Does this sound interesting to you?
Mildly.
All right. Anyway, Bill, what else are you looking forward to?
Okay, now stay with me because it seems like a stretch. George Clooney is playing a movie star who is beloved and wants to prove that he's still a good guy. So he doesn't go to a big movie that he was going to do, and instead goes to where he's being honored at some festival. His manager, long-suffering manager, is Adam Sandler. And this is all called Jay Kelly, which is his character name. It's by Noah Baumbach, who is Mr. Greta Gerwig and wrote some of the funny lines, probably of the Ken characters in Barbie. And this looks great. I'm looking forward to this. I haven't seen it, but it's coming to the New York Film Festival, and I will be there.
I am not a huge fan of Baumbach, but I am so excited about Adam Sandler being in it because he is in such an interesting moment in his career. Everything he does right now is
he's doing
gold.
another movie with the Safdie brothers, who did
Uncut
Gems?
He's awesome. And so the fact that he chose to do this is making me really want to see it.
You know, Emily Mortimer co-wrote the script on this with Noah Baumbach.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Which is also really interesting. And this cast, I mean, Billy Crudup and Laura Dern, in addition to who you mentioned. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this too. What about you, Mike?
Well, I am looking forward to it because it's funny you mentioned Adam Sandler because I like him better in his serious roles.
Me too.
And I met him at a party,
Me too.
and I said that to him. I said, hey, I have to say I like you better in serious roles than comedy. He looks at me and goes, I'm going to keep doing both. So,
all right, Mike, give me something you're looking forward to.
Well, I'm really looking forward to a documentary called Orwell, 2 + 2 = 5. And it's by a great documentary filmmaker named Raoul Peck, who also made I Am Not Your Negro. And if you don't know who George Orwell was, he wrote Animal Farm and 1984. And I believe science fiction, we don't see it that way, is probably more prophetic about humanity than anything. Mm-hmm. We are literally living in a science fiction age right now. So I'm
a dystopia.
We're in the pre-dystopian era. We're in the dystopian era.
We're in a dystopia.
And I'm fascinated because what Raoul Peck is able to do often is tie things together that connect threads and connect the dots. And I'm looking forward to seeing. I've got a screener I'm ready to watch.
Oh, yeah, you got a screener?
I'm excited. I didn't realize he did the Baldwin doc. That's amazing.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Lisa, give me another thing that you're looking forward to this fall.
Well, my favorite film I've seen this year is coming out in November. It's Ira Sachs' Peter Jujar's Day. It stars Ben Whishaw, who I always like, as the eponymous photographer, and Rebecca Hall plays the writer Linda Rosenkrantz. This is basically the two actors repeat verbatim a transcript of a 1974 conversation that these two people had about Peter's previous day. It sounds prosaic, it may even sound a little boring, but it is weirdly, hauntingly elegant and heartbreaking. It's this amazing reverie about a New York City cultural underground that was basically lost not only to time, but to AIDS. Because Peter died of AIDS, and a lot of the people that they talk about die of AIDS, and you can kind of feel that specter throughout the film.
Well, before we close out the show, I'll tell you that I'm looking forward to something called One Battle After Another. And the reason that I am is because Leonardo DiCaprio, who I give a lot of credit for not doing Marvel comic book movies, he is teaming up with Paul Thomas Anderson. Now, Paul Thomas Anderson has made some movies that I love and some movies that I hate, but the fact that Leo and P.T. Anderson are doing something together really interests me.
There will be blood.
Yes, I drink your milkshake. And it's about these ex-revolutionaries who reunite to rescue one of their own's daughter. Just the combination of these two people makes me want to see this.
I will say two things about it. It's 2 hours and 43 minutes, and it goes by as though it's 90 minutes. I will say that. But it is not as good as you think it is. And DiCaprio is given a few extra scenes that were not necessary just because he's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Interesting.
Well, I'll say this. The third act is unforgettable. There's a chase scene in there that it will stay with you. You've never seen the chase scene.
I'm excited to see this.
That's shot this way.
It's
I
definitely
agree
worth
with you.
seeing.
It's not as
It's
good
not
as
as great as you've heard.
already.
We're special.
Oh.
We saw it in IMAX the other day.
You are special. Thank you. You're all special.
But
Wait a
yes,
minute, what am
I
I,
recommend
chocolate?
it.
Yes.
I recommend it.
You're a chocolate
All
lover.
my panel is very special, and I want to thank them.
Thanks,
because
Daddy.
That's about all the time we have.
Thanks, Dad.
So Bill McCuddy, Lisa Rosman, and Mike Sargent, thanks for being here on the season premiere of. After many, many seasons, we're still here, believe it or not, and Talking Pictures.
We're as stunned as you
I'm
are.
Neil Rosen, and join us next time on Talking Pictures.